the shocking truth about Nostradamus's prophecy on humanity's split. What if the greatest transformation in human history isn't happening out there in the world but within us? What if the real end of days isn't a fiery apocalypse but a quiet split so subtle, so invisible that most won't notice until it's too late? Nostradamus once wrote, "A great multitude will awaken, one part driven to light, one to blackened waters." For centuries, this was dismissed as poetic mystery. But now, it feels more like a mirror reflecting a truth many of us are beginning to sense: that humanity is dividing not by race, nation, or ideology, but by awareness. Some are rising into clarity, simplicity, and purpose. Others are slipping deeper into illusion, noise, and fear. And here's the part no one talks about. This split isn't loud. It doesn't come with warning signs. It comes through the quiet choices we make every day: what we believe, what we follow, what we fear, and what we choose to remember. This is not a prophecy of doom. It's a call to awaken, a reminder that the path forward isn't given, it's chosen. So ask yourself, which world are you aligning with? The one that fades or the one that rises? Welcome to the journey of wisdom, where ancient truths meet the modern soul. Number 1. Nostradamus's prophecy on humanity's great division. Among Nostradamus's many cryptic quatrains lies a haunting verse, often dismissed as mere poetic abstraction, yet now resonating with eerie clarity. A great multitude will awaken, one part driven to light, one to blackened waters. At first glance, it may seem to hint at a physical conflict, perhaps a war, a disaster, or global upheaval. But those attuned to deeper layers of meaning recognize this is no prophecy of armies or politics. It speaks instead of a spiritual schism, an invisible but profound rupture in the collective soul of humanity. This division is not something that will arrive with a loud crash. It unfolds silently, subtly. People remain in the same physical world, occupying the same cities, sharing the same conversations, yet their vibrational realities begin to diverge. One path moves upward, toward light, clarity, and conscious evolution. The other descends into shadow, confusion, and energetic stagnation. Nostradamus was not predicting a literal split of land or borders, but a split of perception, awareness, and frequency. It's a division of inner alignment. As the world shifts, so do the people within it. Some begin to wake up, tuning into synchronicities, intuition, and deeper truths. Others turn further outward, becoming increasingly entangled in distraction, consumption, and fear. The essence of this prophecy is not fear, but choice. Each soul must decide, consciously or not, whether to rise with truth or drift with illusion. The age of neutral ground is ending. Humanity is entering a phase where two timelines, two realities, two levels of consciousness will quietly unfold side by side until they no longer intersect. This is the split Nostradamus foresaw. Not apocalypse, but awakening. Not destruction, but divergence. Number 2. The two paths. The awakened versus the lost. As we stand at the edge of a new era in human consciousness, a silent and invisible divergence is taking place, not based on borders, beliefs, or even education, but on the quality of inner awareness. This divergence marks what some believe Nostradamus hinted at centuries ago, a split within humanity, not of bodies but of souls. On one path are those we might call the awakened ordinary individuals experiencing a profound shift in perception, sensing a deeper layer to life that lies just beyond the surface. On the other path are the lost, not evil, not broken, but caught in a web of distraction, disconnected from the inner voice that gently whispers truths the outer world tries to drown out. These two groups are not enemies. They are mirrors of choice, reminders of the crossroads we all stand at, again and again. The awakened are not spiritual celebrities or mystical elites. They are everyday people who have begun to feel that something is deeply off, even if they can't immediately put it into words. Often, their journey starts with an unshakable intuition, a persistent whisper that the world around them is layered with illusion. From this point, strange but undeniable experiences may begin to unfold. Dreams that feel eerily predictive, distortions in the flow of time where minutes feel like hours or entire days seem to collapse into a flash, and synchronistic events that seem far too meaningful to be random. These signs may not always make logical sense, but they resonate deeply in the heart, offering subtle nudges toward a path that feels both ancient and brand new. More than anything, the awakened develop a sensitivity, a radar for what is real and what is false. They begin to sense dishonesty behind polished words and hidden motives behind charming masks. This sensitivity isn't paranoia, it's clarity. It's a rising awareness that something within them is waking up, remembering, reconnecting with a purpose that was long buried under layers of modern noise and distraction. However, this awakening isn't a peaceful stroll through serenity. It often begins with discomfort, intense emotions, loss of old relationships, or feelings of loneliness. The world begins to feel unfamiliar, even alien. Friends and family may not understand. There may be doubts, fear, and a yearning to go back to the way things were. But for the awakened, retreat is not an option, because something within has already shifted. This path is not about escaping life, it's about engaging with it more deeply. Every challenge becomes a chance to shed what no longer serves and to step more fully into authenticity. It is a purification process, not to punish but to prepare. The awakened are not being broken, they are being reshaped, elevated, tuned to a higher frequency that resonates with compassion, clarity, and courage. And though this transformation may unfold slowly, it is real, and its momentum becomes undeniable. On the other side are the lost, those who have not yet begun to awaken. But it's important to understand, they are not lesser or damned. They are simply caught in the design of a world that trains us to look outward for meaning and inward only when something is wrong. Their lives revolve around external systems that mold their beliefs and dull their curiosity. The media tells them what to fear. The education system teaches what to think, not how to think. Technology, though full of potential, often distracts more than it empowers. And consumer culture feeds them endless desires, always promising fulfillment, but never truly delivering. In this state, the lost are not evil. They are sedated. And yet, many of them carry a hidden ache, an unrest that surfaces during quiet moments, a question that flickers in the stillness. Is this all there is? Some will ignore it. Some will bury it under busyness. But a few, perhaps prompted by a loss, a crisis, or an inexplicable moment of clarity, will begin to listen. They will start to question, to seek, and perhaps, one day, to awaken. This moment in history is not a battle of light against dark or good against evil. It's not about one side defeating the other. Rather, it's a fork in the road between remembering who we truly are and remaining lost in a dream of distraction. The awakened walk a path that is often uncertain, even painful, but grounded in a sense of inner knowing. The lost may feel safer for a time, surrounded by the familiar comforts of the world, but that safety is fragile, dependent on systems that can shift overnight. And so the deeper truth is this: awakening is always available. It is not a one-time event, but a daily choice. With every thought we think, every action we take, and every intention we set, we lean toward one path or the other. The roads may be different, but they are not fixed. One can move from lost to awakened, and yes, even from awakened back to lost, if we begin to numb ourselves again. This is the nature of consciousness, fluid, alive, and always offering another chance. So as we consider Nostradamus's vision not as a prophecy of doom, but as a metaphor for spiritual evolution, we begin to see that the real split in humanity is not about survival or destruction, but about awareness, about choosing each day to rise above illusion, to remember what matters, and to walk the path of truth, no matter how uncertain or uncomfortable it may seem. In the end, the question is simple. Which path will we choose today? Number 3. The silent yet irreversible split. Now, let's take a deeper look at this, because what Nostradamus warned us about wasn't a loud, catastrophic divide, but something far more subtle and in many ways far more dangerous. This spiritual split isn't marked by any single event you'll read in the news or a signal the world sends to let you know it's arrived. No, it happens quietly, almost invisibly, like a gentle tide pulling in two directions. You might not even notice it at first. But have you ever felt like you're drifting away from the people around you, even though you're still living side by side? Like you're watching the same events unfold, yet interpreting them completely differently. That is how this split begins, not with a bang, but with a whisper. It starts with tiny differences in how we see the world, how we respond to fear, how we seek truth, what we choose to believe, and what we choose to ignore. Maybe it's how someone starts to value peace over power or chooses authenticity over approval. One person begins asking deeper questions while another keeps scrolling for comfort. These aren't huge, dramatic shifts, but they add up, and over time, they shape the direction of our lives. Picture this: two trains that once traveled side by side. In the beginning, passengers can still wave to one another through the windows, still see each other's world. But gradually, those tracks start to bend ever so slightly until they're no longer headed to the same destination. By the time most people realize what's happening, the distance is too wide to cross. Doesn't that make you pause and wonder, what track am I really on? What's guiding the direction of my life? See, the truth is, the split that's unfolding isn't physical, it's vibrational. It's about energy. Two versions of reality are forming in the same space, one grounded in awareness, connection, and inner freedom, and the other built on distraction, dependence, and comfort that numbs. And here's the real shock. You don't know you're choosing, but you are. Every day, through what you consume, what you believe, and how you respond to life, you're aligning with one of these paths. The reason this division is so difficult to notice is because it doesn't scream. It doesn't demand your attention the way fear or chaos does. It's quiet. It lives in your choices, especially the small ones. Will you seek truth, even if it's uncomfortable? Will you face your pain instead of avoiding it? Will you listen to that gentle nudge inside you that says, "There's more than this"? If you ignore it long enough, that voice fades. That's the danger. Because when the split becomes wide enough, returning is no longer easy. You may still pass by people on the other train, you may even love them dearly, but they won't hear what you hear anymore, and you won't see what they see. The connection will still exist in memory, but not in reality. Now, I want you to hold on to this one powerful idea. The split is not loud, but it is final. That may sound unsettling, but it's also a wake-up call. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. It's not about thinking you're better than others, it's about knowing whether you're being true to yourself. It's not a judgment, it's alignment. So ask yourself, am I choosing my path, or am I letting the world choose it for me? Because this moment right here, this breath, this thought is another fork in the road. You're deciding even when you're not aware, you are. And that's the beauty and the responsibility of it. It's not too late to shift. It's not too late to listen. But the longer we ignore the pull toward truth, the harder it becomes to hear it. So what can we take from all this? First, be present. Pay attention to what you're becoming. Second, value awareness over comfort. Sometimes growth feels like discomfort, but that's where the shift happens. Third, remember that the split isn't something to fear, it's a call to wake up. Your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions are like the tracks beneath your feet. They are guiding where you're going, whether you realize it or not. So choose with care, choose with courage, because whether we like it or not, the train is moving and the direction it takes depends on where your spirit is ready to go. You're not here by accident. If you're still watching, it means you're meant to uncover the truth that many still ignore. Comment, truth seeker, if you're ready to face the shocking message hidden in Nostradamus's prophecy. Keep watching what comes next. May forever change how you see humanity's future. Number 4. The phenomenon of the false dawn. Let's explore something that may sound a little uncomfortable, but it's crucial for anyone walking the path of awakening to understand. As more people begin to question the world around them, its systems, its leaders, and even its long-held beliefs, a new kind of deception quietly slips in through the back door. It's called the false dawn. And here's the thing, it doesn't come dressed in darkness, but in light. It looks like truth, it sounds like wisdom, and it often feels like progress. But if you look closer, you'll see it's just illusion dressed in spiritual clothing. The Buddha once said, "Just as a candle cannot burn without fire, men cannot live without a spiritual life." But that spiritual life must be genuine. It must come from deep inner work, not a performance, not a trend. So let me ask you this, how do you know if your awakening is real? How do you know if you're on the path of truth, or if you've just stepped into a more comfortable illusion? The false dawn shows up in movements and teachings that grow quickly, get shared easily, and feel good without asking much from you. You'll see it in catchy slogans, pretty rituals, expensive workshops, and the promise of instant peace with no inner effort. It wraps the language of transformation in soft colors and gentle tones, but never really invites you to face the hard questions. Who am I beneath the masks? What pain have I not yet faced? What truths have I avoided because they make me uncomfortable? The false dawn tells you you're already enough and need to do nothing more, while true awakening tells you to strip away everything that isn't real and find what's left. That's not always a comfortable process. In fact, real growth is often the opposite of comfort. As Zen master Shunryu Suzuki said, "In the beginner's mind there are many possibilities, but in the expert's there are few." True spiritual seekers stay open, stay questioning, and resist the temptation to settle too soon. You see, the false dawn doesn't challenge you to grow, it soothes your ego. It offers peace without facing your pain, promises connection without doing the hard work of empathy, and gives you tools without showing you how to truly use them. It lets you talk the talk without walking the path. But real awakening? It tears down everything that's false. It's not something you can buy, follow on social media, or replicate through a weekend retreat. It's something you feel in the silence of your heart, something that humbles you as much as it empowers you. And here's what makes this even more challenging. The closer you get to truth, the more clever and refined the deception becomes. That's why awareness is everything. It's easy to spot darkness, but how do you spot a false light? Can you recognize when comfort is being sold to you as truth? Nostradamus warned of this very thing, a light that blinds instead of illuminates, a dawn that promises warmth but delivers only more confusion. That is the danger of the false dawn. And if you're truly walking the path of awakening, this is your test. Can you stay honest with yourself when the world offers you easy answers? Can you keep your eyes open when the illusion wears robes of wisdom? Real awakening won't flatter your ego. It will ask you to let go of it. It won't hand you ready-made answers. It will invite you to live in the mystery, to embrace uncertainty, and to grow through it. And above all, it will not lead you to escape the world, but to return to it, awake, clear, and deeply engaged. So the lesson here is this: be gentle, but be sharp. Don't be swayed by what feels good unless it also rings true. Ask yourself the hard questions. Trust your quiet knowing over loud promises. And remember this final truth: 3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. The Buddha: the false dawn may glitter, but it cannot hold its shine forever. And in the end, it's your courage to walk through the darkness with clarity that brings you to the real light. Number 5. Awakened children, seeds of the second dawn. As we continue exploring the quiet, profound transformation that Nostradamus may have seen unfolding in humanity, we come to a chapter filled with both mystery and hope: the arrival of awakened children, often unnoticed by the mainstream world, yet deeply felt by those who are beginning to see beyond the veil. These children are not here to adapt to outdated systems, they are here to transform them. Often born with an unmistakable presence and a piercing clarity in their eyes, they seem to carry memories of something ancient, as if their souls remember truths that most adults have long forgotten. Referred to by some mystics and spiritual teachers as the seeds of the second dawn, these young ones seem to naturally question the world, detect inauthenticity, and see through illusions that many of us took decades to unlearn. They possess a wisdom that is not learned through books or experience, but seems encoded in their very being. How can this be, you might wonder? Perhaps, as the Buddha said, thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. These children may very well be those new flames, lit from an ancient, undying source. You may have already seen signs of this in your own life: a child who speaks with startling emotional intelligence, who reacts strongly to injustice, who seems overwhelmed in crowded places not because they are weak, but because they are feeling everything. These children are sensitive not just to emotions, but to energy, to truth, to the frequencies beneath what is said. Some speak of memories from other times, or seem to know things they've never been taught. While mainstream systems often label them as hyperactive, overly sensitive, or out of step with their peers, what if those labels are more of a reflection of our outdated systems than of the children themselves? What if their so-called differences are actually gifts meant to prepare the world for what's coming next? Their presence challenges the rigid structures of education, healthcare, and even parenting because they were never meant to follow. They came to lead, not with ego, but with awareness. And because of this, many suffer silently, misunderstood in classrooms, misdiagnosed in clinics, or pushed to fit in with a world that no longer fits their purpose. So what can we do? First, we must shift our perception. Instead of seeing these children as problems to be solved, we must begin to see them as messengers. As the Zen saying goes, the obstacle is the path. Perhaps their difficulty fitting into our systems is the very sign that those systems must change. If you are a parent, a teacher, a healer, or even simply someone who has started awakening, your role is vital. These children need guidance, not control. They need protection, not pressure. And most of all, they need someone who recognizes them not as broken, but as brave. They are the bridge between the fading structures of the past and the emerging consciousness of the future. They do not seek approval, they seek purpose. And that purpose is to help anchor humanity into a more conscious, compassionate way of being. If you've ever felt out of place growing up, like you knew too much, felt too deeply, or questioned what others accepted, you might be one of them, no matter your age now. Many adults are only now realizing that their early struggles were signs of their own soul's awakening. And if that's you, it's not too late to reclaim your path. You were never meant to be invisible. You are part of this shift. You are the bridge between what was and what's to come. As the Dalai Lama once said, the children of today are the leaders of tomorrow. But these leaders are not just political, they are spiritual, emotional, and vibrational leaders of a new era. They are not here to repeat what has been done, but to create what has never been imagined. So let us honor their courage, listen to their wisdom, and above all, support them in becoming exactly who they were born to be. Because in them lives the light of the second dawn, and through them the great awakening continues. Number 6. The collapse of the old world is necessary. Now, I want to speak to you directly because this part of the journey, though it may look frightening on the surface, holds one of the greatest truths Nostradamus ever hinted at. What many interpret as the end of the world, he actually saw as a great unveiling, not a final destruction, but a necessary clearing. He didn't speak of fire raining down or the earth swallowing itself whole. No, his prophecy pointed to a collapse not of nature, but of illusion. He described a time when masks would fall, when long-standing systems would crumble, not out of hatred, but because they simply no longer matched the consciousness of a waking world. Think about that. What if the chaos we're witnessing isn't chaos at all, but a deeper intelligence at work, a long-awaited shift, removing what no longer serves us? The Buddha once said, "Only when we let go of who we think we are can we become who we truly are." In the same way, humanity cannot step into a higher awareness while still clinging to structures built on fear, control, and separation. Today, we see institutions once thought unshakable: governments, economic systems, religious authorities, social rules beginning to fracture under the weight of their own contradictions. The old world was built for survival, for hierarchy, for profit over people. But as collective consciousness rises, what once held power now feels empty. What once demanded loyalty now exposes its manipulation, and what once passed as truth can no longer hide under scrutiny. Does this not make you pause and wonder, what are we really losing, and what are we finally being freed from? For those still asleep, this unraveling feels like collapse, even catastrophe. But for the awakened, this is something else entirely. It's a necessary transformation. Just like the forest that must burn so that new life can rise from the ashes, this destruction is not the end, it's the beginning of something far more alive. Nostradamus called it revelation, not ruin. He saw it as the moment when veils would be lifted, and what has been hidden for centuries would finally be seen. So what can we do with this awareness? We stop fearing the fall. We begin to see that things breaking down may be a sign that something better is ready to rise. It is not destruction for destruction's sake. It is evolution through deconstruction. And when we understand this, we stop mourning the systems that no longer align with truth. We release the belief that control equals safety. We step into a new energy that is rooted in connection, compassion, and clarity. The Dalai Lama once said, "Our ancient experience confirms at every point that everything is linked together, everything is inseparable." And in that spirit, we start to see the breakdown of the old, not as separation, but as the necessary cracking open of what has been too rigid for too long. The lesson here is this: do not cling to the collapsing world out of habit or fear. Let it fall, and choose instead to be part of what is rising. Ask yourself what in your own life is asking to be released. What belief, habit, or structure is no longer in tune with who you are becoming? This is not a time to despair. It is a time to awaken. Because the truth is, you are not witnessing the death of humanity, you are standing at the edge of its rebirth. The veils are thinning, and we are being asked to see not with the eyes of fear, but with the clarity of the heart. So let us welcome this collapse, not as an end, but as the long overdue beginning of something deeply true, radically alive, and finally aligned with who we were meant to be. Still with us? That means you're someone who dares to question what lies ahead. Drop "split future" in the comments to let us know you're awake to the deeper meaning behind Nostradamus's warning. Stay tuned, there's more to reveal, and it just might reshape your understanding of what's coming. Number 7. A fractured reality. The two Earths. As we continue this journey into Nostradamus's deeply symbolic prophecy, we now arrive at one of the most profound and unsettling truths. Reality itself is no longer a shared stage, it is splitting into two distinct paths. Not in terms of geography or politics, but through something far more subtle and powerful: consciousness. Right now, both of these Earths exist in the same physical space, yet they operate on completely different vibrations. One Earth is slowly sinking into fear, control, and distraction. It's a reality marked by constant surveillance, endless noise, and artificial living. People in this space are overstimulated yet disconnected, chasing progress that never quite delivers peace. Life here moves fast, but feels empty. It thrives on external validation and suppresses inner reflection. And then there is the other Earth rising quietly, humbly. This one is built not on fear, but on truth. Here, people are awakening to a deeper sense of who they are, not through force, but through stillness. They begin living with intention, guided not by social pressure, but by an inner compass. As the Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within, do not seek it without." This new Earth is shaped by those who choose presence over performance, simplicity over status, and alignment over approval. But here's what makes this so important for you to understand. The split is not something that happens all at once, and it's not something you will see in headlines or news reports. It's happening quietly within you and all around you, every day. You won't walk through a portal or wake up in a new world overnight. The shift is vibrational, it's energetic, and it begins with your thoughts, your beliefs, your intentions, and the choices you make in every moment. Let me ask you, how are you choosing to see the world? Do you react to fear or respond with trust? Are you clinging to old narratives that keep you small, or are you stepping into the unknown with a willingness to grow? Because every decision you make is like casting a vote for the version of reality you wish to inhabit. One choice leads to a world of separation and illusion. The other opens the door to a life of clarity, connection, and deeper truth. This divergence is personal, and that's what makes it powerful. Two people can stand in the same room, read the same news, experience the same events, yet see entirely different realities based on their internal frequency. One may see collapse and chaos, while the other sees awakening and rebirth. This is the great mystery of our time. Reality is no longer something we all agree upon, it's something we vibrationally choose. And as more people awaken, the separation between these two Earths becomes wider. Eventually, there will be less overlap, less shared perception, not because one side has disappeared, but because the other has risen beyond its frequency. As the ancient Zen saying goes, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. In this case, when the soul is ready, the world it belongs to begins to reveal itself. So what does this mean for you right now? It means you are not being forced onto either path. You are choosing, moment by moment. With every belief you hold, every thought you entertain, and every act of courage or complacency, you are aligning with one Earth or the other. One Earth dims under the weight of illusion, the other rises with the light of truth. The choice is not made once, it is made daily. What kind of world are you helping to create with your energy? Are you building the new or holding on to the old out of fear? This is your opportunity to step into a higher vibration, not through grand gestures, but through honest self-awareness. So stay awake, stay grounded, and remember, while the Earth may seem fractured, your awareness is the bridge that leads to wholeness. Number 8. The role of the guardians. As the world continues to shift and split into different levels of awareness, something Nostradamus subtly foresaw: not everyone is meant to lead from the front or speak from stages. In fact, some of the most important roles in this great transition are held by those whose work is almost invisible. These are the guardians, quiet, grounded, and deeply present souls who carry no title, seek no recognition, and hold no authority by worldly standards, yet their presence is one of the most sacred. A guardian walks between the worlds, fully anchored in higher awareness, yet deeply compassionate toward those who are still caught in illusion. They don't try to drag people into awakening, nor do they abandon them. Instead, they tend the threshold like keepers of a quiet, flickering flame, ensuring that the path remains visible to those who may one day choose to walk it. These are the ones who stay behind, not because they are lost, but because they remember what it was like to be. As the Buddha said, "If you light a lamp for someone else, it will also brighten your path." That is the essence of the guardian's task, not to force enlightenment, but to be a steady, loving presence for those finding their way. Their work often goes unnoticed on the surface. A few heartfelt words at just the right moment, a kind gesture where judgment could have been easier, a story told not to impress, but to stir a forgotten truth in another soul. Guardians don't preach, they listen. They don't try to convert, they invite. They reflect, gently and consistently, what is possible when one dares to wake up. Their lives become quiet teachings, their energy a reminder that love and awareness are not ideas, but ways of being. And for those still lost in the noise of the old world, these encounters may seem brief, even insignificant, but they plant seeds that can take root in the heart long after the moment has passed. How many times in your life has a stranger said something small that stuck with you forever? That is the work of a guardian, subtle but lasting. In today's world where everything is fast, loud, and performance-driven, this role takes a different kind of strength, the strength to remain grounded in truth, to keep loving when others attack, to keep showing up without demanding results. As Thich Nhat Hanh wisely said, compassion is a verb, and guardians live that truth each day, quietly, faithfully, patiently. If you feel drawn to this role, know that you are not here to escape the world or to rise above it. You are here to light it from within. You are not meant to disappear into isolation, but to be a steady flame that others can find when their own light dims. This path asks for your resilience, your trust in the unseen, and your willingness to offer presence instead of persuasion. You may not get applause, you may not see the impact of your work, but your calm in the chaos, your clarity in the confusion, and your compassion in the face of fear might be the very bridge someone else needs to cross from darkness to awakening. So, if you are a guardian, even if the world does not see you, keep the fire lit. Stay at the gate, not as a guard, but as a gentle guide. Your voice matters, your energy matters, and your love, offered without condition, may be the key that helps another soul remember the truth of who they are. In this time of great division and awakening, your role may be quiet, but it is nothing less than sacred. Number 9. The split has begun, and the choice is yours. As we come to the close of this powerful journey through Nostradamus's chilling yet insightful prophecy, we're left with one undeniable truth. The split he spoke of is no longer a distant warning. It is already unfolding all around us, and perhaps even within us. When Nostradamus wrote, "The world shall be one, yet seen as two," he wasn't offering a metaphor, he was describing a future in which humanity would live on the same planet, but experience completely different versions of reality based on their inner state. And here we are, standing on that very threshold. We still share the same earth, the same technology, the same air, but our hearts, our thoughts, our truths are pulling us in different directions. One path leads us toward awakening, growth, and genuine freedom, a journey that demands courage, deep reflection, and a willingness to shed false beliefs. It isn't the popular path. It isn't the easiest road, but it's the one that leads to clarity, to connection, and to remembering who we truly are. As the Buddha wisely said, "No one saves us but ourselves. No one can, and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path." And so the question now becomes deeply personal. Will you walk that path? Because the other road, though it may feel safer, is the path of illusion, full of noise, comfort, and the false promise of security. It keeps us distracted, numbed, and compliant. It convinces us that things are fine as long as we don't look too closely. But that version of life robs us of our voice and dulls the inner fire that longs to awaken. You see, the most startling truth in all of this is that no one is going to make this decision for you. Not a leader, not a prophet, not a system. Your reality is created from the inside out through your energy, your choices, your daily alignment. Each moment is a crossroad. Each decision is a vote for the kind of earth you are choosing to live in. So ask yourself, what do you value more? Comfort or clarity? Conformity or truth? Fear or freedom? These questions aren't meant to shame or pressure you. They are meant to awaken something that's already stirring within you. And if you've made it this far, it's likely because part of you already knows the answer. You didn't find this message by accident. There's a reason you're here, listening, reflecting. Something in you is remembering. And while the split has already begun, the road ahead is still open. The future has not been written in stone. It's being shaped by what we believe, how we act, and the courage we carry. As the Zen master Dogen said, "A flower falls, even though we love it, and a weed grows, even though we do not love it." Life continues to unfold whether we participate consciously or not, but the awakened ones know they have a choice. So pause now, not in fear, but in awareness. Take a breath and ask yourself, which earth are you walking into? Which version of reality are you feeding with your attention, your habits, and your hope? Are you choosing truth over illusion, presence over distraction, purpose over passivity? The path of awakening is not handed to you, it's created by you. And every moment you choose to step into it, the new earth becomes a little more real, a little more possible. The split is here. The gate is open, and the choice today and every day forward is entirely yours. And so, as we stand at this powerful crossroads in human history, remember this: the split Nostradamus foresaw is not a tragedy, it's an invitation to awaken, to choose consciously, and to live with deeper purpose. If this message resonated with you, if it stirred something within your heart, then you're already walking the path. Stay curious, stay grounded, and stay true. Thank you for joining us on The Journey of Wisdom. If you found this video meaningful, please like, share it with someone who may need it, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming explorations into timeless wisdom and awakening truths. Until next time, walk gently, choose mindfully, and remember, the path is yours to walk, but you are never walking it alone.